Today we're doing something slightly different. Instead of looking at what I have been developing or doing a tutorial on how to develop something, I'm going to take a look at what you guys have been making. A while ago I made a community post and a post on my Discord server for you to submit your games that you've been making to me to play through. And today we're going to sit down and play through the first 3 games and a hopefully ever-growing list of games to play through. I already have a bunch of games that I can play through, but if you want to add your game to this list, do go down below and fill out the Google Doc form at the top of the description, because I will always be happy to see more of you guys' work, and maybe we can all together learn from some of the good things or some of the less good things that happen in any or all of your games. For now though, let's get right into the first game of today's first batch. And we're here with the very first game of today's batch, which is simply called Skeleton. There's a link down below in the description to download it if you want to play it for yourself. Let me try and see if this is going to pick up my PS5 controller. It is. That's not always a guaranteed, so that's quite a nice thing to do. And we can move around. Immediately, I like the art style in this one. It's kind of like a game that that closes itself when you walk to the left, which was a little unexpected, to say the least. There is a little like icon there that has an X on it, which kind of does indicate that, but I don't know. It feels like the collision box for that is right in line with it. It probably should be behind it, and it probably should pop up with a menu or something like that. I like the art style, the whole like pop-up book aesthetic. I dig it. I like the sprites here. Let's start a new game. I don't know how this works, so we're going to figure this out together. We saw a little bit of a skeleton dude here, apparently. And I think it's like a beat-em-up type of game. So far, I'm not hearing much in the way of audio. There might be none. I might have to... There's no options, so let's just keep rolling and see where we go. There might just simply be no audio. How do I do literally anything? Do I press square? No, I didn't actually look at the page. I probably should have, to be honest with you. That said, though, I do personally firmly believe that you shouldn't need to look at like a game manual or a download page in order to like be able to play it. And so far, it seems like the game itself, maybe we're just in a area where we are supposed to be dodging these things. This feels like very much a dodgy type of challenge. But so far, it tells us how to move, but not how to do anything else yet. So that must mean that we're not supposed to be doing anything else yet, because if you're going to be telling me how to move, you better tell me like everything, because moving is obviously the most like basic thing that everybody probably knows how to do. And it seems like we are actually just on like a running mission. I still don't know what the square button does here. It does something, but it's just, I guess we'll figure that out at some point. Oh my god. So yeah, we had those little ghosts and then those bugs, and now we have both of them together. So there does seem to be some escalation in like difficulty, which is probably a good sign. I would hazard a guess to say. And it's not too... Okay, that is a little annoying. It's not even too punishing yet. I think on the top left, what you're seeing there might be my health bar. But honestly, I'm messing up a lot and I haven't died yet. So, okay, so now we have a ribcage. Oh! And that allows us to now attack with the... It says X button, but that's probably like Xbox X, so that's the square button for PlayStation controllers. That makes sense. So now we can start actually playing some like combat stuff. And these are coins. I'm guessing this is either just score or at like the end of the level, or maybe the shops or whatever. We can buy upgrades to like combos or new attacks or new abilities or whatever. And now we can fight back, right? There is a little... I guess we just kind of have to wait for him to Okay, the camera's a little weird here, not gonna lie. The whole audio thing is kind of throwing me off, because I feel like, especially with this type of gameplay, you definitely want like auditory feedback as to what you're doing. Like, you're not gonna feel the hit impacts of a hit unless there is like a meaty or like a bone cracking sound or whatever. But you very much want there to be some sort of sound feedback when you hit something and when you get hit. And ideally, those two should be pretty significantly different. Do I see... Okay, so the red bar is probably like my stamina, right? Yeah, I think it might be. Oh, that's bad, I think. What are those apples? Is this healing? Use item B. Okay, so that's healing. Is there a way to like regain your stamina? Maybe that would be nice. That would like throw a little bit of a curve into the gameplay, because right now it's just kind of spam until I run out and I run away and then do the same. But these guys do maybe seem to indicate a difficulty spike. So let's see whether or not they actually prove to be a big challenge. Those green clouds, I guess I'm going to need to stay the hell away from. And then I can heal a little bit. I can heal mid-combat as well, surely. So I guess the risk reward here is that those things can have apples or poison clouds in them. There might be an indication as to which one is which, but otherwise it's just a loot box, right? Okay, so those... Like, these are a little bit more red. These crates seem to explode. So we actually want to avoid these, is what I'm thinking. Okay, that's a fun... okay. That's a fun little... Oh, that's not... Oh, no. We're all the way back here. Oh, hold on. You can use those gassy clouds to, like, explode the enemies and damage multiple enemies at the same time. And we've got these green apples, which I think the green apples might just be damaging me, to be honest. Okay, that is an interesting like quirk to the gameplay. And now this time, don't run into these crates. The depth perception on this is a little fucked as well. It's not great to see like where the collision... Yeah, that's what I mean. Because it's all like this paper book aesthetic, like 2D and 3D, right? There's a bit of an issue to... You don't know how thick any of the hitboxes are for any of the objects, which makes challenges like these a little difficult to deal with. Switch between items. Oh, I have different types of apple, do I? Okay, and then I've got also... Okay, that's kind of neat. And this is my first arm, which probably gets me a new type of attack. Also, different movement animation. I do like the fact that we have different animations every time we get a new body part. Heavy attack is... Okay, so now the head is the heavy attack, which is... presumably also like range, right? So that's good. And then we also have the normal head bash thing. So we can hit multiple enemies at once with that, and this does twice the amount of damage. Okay, does it also take twice the amount of... It doesn't seem to take a proportional amount of stamina, which I personally don't necessarily mind, but it might be good if it used up a little bit more than it does. I think that's all that we're going to be looking at for Skeleton, because we have other games to take a look at today. If you want to support the creator and go check out the build that I'm playing right now, there will be a link down below in the description. And let's move on to the next game and see what they have to offer us. But before we move on to that second game, let's talk about today's sponsor, NordVPN, real quick. You've heard about NordVPN? No doubt. You can browse the internet as if from a different location, whether that be for security reasons or just for streaming site related reasons. With my link down below in the description, you can get over 70% off a 2-year plan on NordVPN and 3 entire months for free. So check out the link down below in the description and we can move on to the next game. And then next up we have this next game called The Red King's Thief. So let's just immediately start with new game. Maybe we'll look at the settings. We have sound settings, which is more than we did before, but it doesn't actually lead to a menu. So that's a little too bad. Hopefully the sound settings, default settings are good. Let's see. Maybe that's something that you want to look into. We have, first and foremost, the level loading in. Is this 2D? Do we have, like, if a controller, it doesn't pick up the PS5 controller, which again, that thing that Unreal sometimes just has difficulty with. The last thing was a Unity game. Didn't have that problem. Unreal sometimes do be like that. It's good to have stuff that's not yours. I guess, yes. We have arrow keys. We have the WSD. ASCII is crouching. And this was made for a game jam. Looking at the upload date and the theme here being growing and shrinking, I'm assuming this was made for the GMTK Game Jam 2024. We also have the Q key to shrink and the E key to grow. But those don't seem to, at the moment, be doing anything. W and D for walking left and right, spacebar to jump, second time for double jump. Do we have like a wall jump or something like that? So far it doesn't really do too much. You can't grow when there's no room, so that's probably why the E key doesn't do anything. There's also this very constant visual glitches going on with the lighting. I'm assuming that's just something to do with the lighting not being built. Oh, we can go outside here? Is that what's going on? Because that is not visually obvious at all. I guess that is what we're supposed to be doing. Oh, we can even, if we just don't jump, we can just make it through here. Oh, there is. Okay. There's fire. Okay. I guess there's a little bit of a thing here that like leads you to believe you can walk here. But the first thing that my mind goes to is, hey, there's like immediately after that there's an opening again. So I probably have to like jump out of here. And then I can just go like through this bit of wall here. Which this wall just doesn't have collision, but there is this wall. And there's no other indication here that I can keep walking unless I try it and keep walking. This did have me stuck for a little bit. So I don't know what you do here. I guess what you do is you take out this little piece of like wall that blocks your vision because it doesn't really accomplish anything. And then there's the fact that you have to make your camera clip through pieces of wall in order to like see new stuff, which is not ideal. This is made for a game jam, I know, but maybe something where objects between you, the player character here, and the camera get like dithered or something so that you can look through them. It's not a too complicated thing to set up. That does mean that you probably want to like segment the wall up into a couple of different pieces here. But that way you can kind of fade out this wall. That said, again, the first bit of like wall here that I'm walking behind now, I don't know that it has a lot of reason to be there. Especially seeing like if I keep going, there is a lot of it. And it kind of blocks the way you're assumedly supposed to be going. So that is immediately confusing the level design. But that said, once you go through here, we have another section where we just kind of have to trust and clip through a wall with the camera. I'm not a huge fan of that. And then we have this area here where we have to double jump through. It's a little bit of a tight jump to be the first proper jump of the game. And comparing this to the last game that we played, where I was like, okay, I see this like little pop-up for how to walk. It's maybe a little much because every game ever has the same walk controls. This game doesn't really do anything in that regard, and you have to look at the itch page, which for a game jam game, most people will do, so most people won't actually run into issues about this. But also probably doesn't take that long to just create a trigger box that adds in a little widget on your screen that says, hey, press jump or press spacebar to jump for like a first jump, and then have a second trigger box here that lets you like double jump. Tells you press spacebar again while in the air to double jump. Along with that is the fact that the first challenge of the game here is specifically a double jump. I would personally much prefer to be a singular jump first, so that you know, okay, this is a thing that I can jump over, and again, it'd probably be a little bit less of a tight jump, like a little bit more room for error, and then pretty immediately after you can just put this thing in, because there is even two fires here, so we can just jump over one fire and then move a little to the left, which is also just a nitpick to be honest, but generally speaking, like levels in platforming games move from left to right. That might be on purpose that we're doing it the other way here for reasons that I haven't gotten to yet, but that feels a little unintuitive. We'll jump over one fire, move a little to the left, maybe do one little extra like jumping puzzle or whatever, and then have the double jumping. That way, even if you don't do the pop-up widgets, which I still recommend you would need to do, you naturally introduce the concept of, okay, I can jump over this, and now that we see more fire with no way to reach, we can double jump over it because we can see maybe two fires or whatever. Something along those lines. So let's see what happens if we keep on going. We move down and we keep on walking. We have a little bit more light here, which is nice. This was a little bit of a dark area before. And we're clipping through walls again. And now... Okay, what's going on here? I should be able to... Okay, so now I can grow and I can jump over these. There is an arbitrary height to which I can jump here. Or is that just the jump? Feels like there's something slightly different about the jump when I'm big. I don't know what it is. It feels like I'm hitting my head. I don't know if that's actually what's going on. Against like an invisible wall or something like that. Or if there's just something like quirky in the programming for all this. And now we're here. Oh, we do have wall jumps. So I guess, did we just unlock the wall jump? Is that what just happened? That is this game though. If you want to check it out and maybe find stuff that I didn't find because I feel like I'm missing something, do go check out the link down below in the description. And meanwhile, we'll be moving on to the third and for today, the last game that we'll be taking a look at. And here we are with the last game of today, Path of the Forsaken. I was supposed to be pressing enter, I think. There we go. So we've got a Sword of the Chosen as an equipment. Let me actually pull up the page for the game. And I guess this is kind of just like a Matrixy type of game. There does seem to be like Let's Start game. There maybe is something to it with... Ooh, I like the aesthetic here already, like all these capacitors and stuff. Okay, so it doesn't respond to my PS5 controller, which again, Unreal Engine, do we Unreal Engine. I can't really blame anybody for not setting up the raw inputs for that. But yeah, so as I was saying, I really do quite like the aesthetic of like walking through this motherboard. Oh my god. Motherboard-filled hallway with all these like different computer components. I like the look of it. It's kind of weird that we have a medieval chest in the middle of it, but I'll try to suspend my disbelief on that. And now we have a torture chair. That can only spell good things. Also, what was up with that skeleton? Oh, so we have... Okay. So what we have is like that thing, that hallway where we just were, I think was just like an overworld, like a hub world. And this is one of the actual levels, and we're kind of... Do I not have a dodge button? I have a block button, which is very, very subtle. Of course, attack. I don't think I have like a dodge, maybe. Okay, so I was gonna say we have a Souls-like vibe to this, but if we don't have a dodge, I don't think I can in good conscience call this a Souls-like. There seems to be more blocking oriented, which actually is probably a fair bit easier to do. I'm guessing we need to murder this dragon at some point. But first maybe take out its minions. The Lost, level 1. So, did that thing just show up because I killed an enemy? Is that what happened? That must be what happened. Or just randomly did show up, I don't know. Okay, so the stamina bar just refills itself in segments. That's fine. While I'm not attacking. And then we have no visual feedback for taking a potion. So yeah, just having like a quick little like burst of particles when you take a potion would be kind of nice. Ideally with the sound effects. Oh, the staircase is over there. Okay, that's my mistake for not seeing that. And there's even, I think they might lead up there. No, there's no doors up there. Let's see where they lead though. Maybe they lead somewhere safe. I kind of doubt it because, oh, this doesn't lead anywhere. Oh, there's an enemy that I missed. Oh, that's probably why the game is not progressing. Okay, so now that's definitely my bad. I'm kind of confused as to why these chests show up randomly. They seem to sometimes show up when I do the first hit on an enemy. I would assume if their enemy drops that they would show up on the last hit against an enemy. But that doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know whether or not I'm missing the point or whether or not that is like a bug. Let's go to the controls real quick. We have sprint, interacts, potion, lock on. We have an attack or a heavy attack, which is good to know, I suppose. We've got a jump button. I guess we have lock on. Maybe the kingdom is safe now without dragons, minions, and I can just leave. If nothing else, the common theme for... Oh, there's a skeleton there. If nothing else, the common theme for... what does lock-on do? Because I'm pressing the lock-on button. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Did I press the wrong button? Let's double check. Lock-on is Q. Oh, that is my bad. I was pressing control for some reason. Q. Okay, so that gets you like this Ocarina of Time type of lock-on system. That's kind of nice. That makes this a little bit more... bearable. And then the heavy attack takes... Ooh, and now that seems to be the dragon. There we go. Okay, still, the common thread of today's games seems to be never underestimate the stupidity of your player. Because... What the hell? Because while it might seem obvious what you're supposed to be doing and how things work to you as a developer, because you've spent like countless hours putting this stuff together, to a player with no knowledge and no context, all that stuff not as obvious as you think. This is a mistake that I constantly make myself as well. Like in my game, I have had playtesters which just forget about certain mechanics. And I've had this in AAA games as well. I've heard other people have this in AAA games as well. If a mechanic is not like well introduced, they forget it exists, and then 3/4 through the game, you suddenly are required to use it, even though it's been kind of like an optional thing the entire time. So, like communicating, also the difficulty spike with the boss is insane. Communicating in game, forcing your player to do certain actions with certain inputs. Before allowing them to actually go through and play. Like, tutorials are annoying, and as game developers, you want to avoid tutorials too much, of course. You don't want to tutorialize everything. But for important mechanics, I think it is relevant to actually halt the gameplay for a bit and make people, like force people to do a certain thing, so that you have some amount of familiarity with the actual gameplay mechanics before you get into the difficult bits. And then there's also just like from a level design perspective, just having an extra little like progress bar here that shows you how many skeletons you need to kill before you can move on to the boss fight. That shows you that there would be a little bit of progress here and that you're working toward unlocking the boss fight. It can be like, you can have the boss fight's health bar in here already, and every time you kill an enemy, that health bar goes up until it's full, and then the boss fight itself spawns in or something like that. I do think that's what we're going to leave it today, so if you want to try this out a little bit for yourself, Path of the Forsaken, there will be a link down below in the description, and go check it out. Hopefully I'll be back with more of this content, because it's actually quite fun to see what you guys are working through. For now though, this has been it. See ya. And a very big thank you to all of my Patreons. You can see them on screen right now. If you want to help out supporting the channel, there's a link down below in the description to the Patreon page. A huge thank you to my Cave Student tier supporters, Earl Monseval Erno, and my Cave Digger tier supporters, Sir J. Thomas,